10 crazy amusement park accidents. Ride of Steel, Darien Lake. U.S. Army Sergeant James Hackemer wanted to try every roller coaster at Darien Lake theme park, provided it was suitably safe to accommodate a double amputee such as himself. The Iraq war vet had no reason to worry after receiving assurances that he'd be fine on the Ride of Steel. Sitting right at the front, Hackemer fell through the harness on the ride's first incline and fell to a brutal, tragic death. Neither the lap bar nor the seatbelt restraints were able to sufficiently secure Hackemer. Action Park. It's a wonder that Action Park even lasted as long as it did. The park represented a perfect storm of unsafe rides, some drunken and belligerent patrons, and plenty of disinterested teenage employees. A litany of incidents as the park resulted in at least 6 deaths from a variety of causes that range from heart attack to electrocution to drownings. In one particular incident, a man was killed when the car he was riding in came off the tracks of the Alpine slide, causing him to smash his head on a rock below. The Cyclone, Coney Island. The Cyclone roller coaster has become such a historic fixture within Coney Island. The ride isn't a stranger to ignominy, although 2 rider deaths in the 80s both came as a result of reckless rider behavior. One particular rickety ride on July 31, 2007, however, left 53-year-old California man Keith Shirasawa in pain with numbness in his fingers. After being admitted to the hospital with what was later diagnosed as a broken neck, Shirasawa died days later due to complications of his injury. Puff the Little Fire Dragon, Lagoon Amusement Park. Sadly, it isn't just the high-impact coasters that can result in safety concerns. The first recorded ride-related death in the long history of the Lagoon Amusement Park came on the popular children's ride, Puff the Little Fire Dragon. On May 1, 1989, 6-year-old Ryan Beckstead managed to wrest himself free of the ride's restraining devices and stood up as the ride was leaving the station. He quickly fell out of the moving car, but wasn't seriously hurt by the relatively short fall. However, he attempted to climb back onto the tracks just as another car was arriving, and he was struck and is believed to have died on impact. Superman, Six Flags, Kentucky. The Superman Tower of Power vertical drop ride at Six Flags Kentucky probably felt more like it was based on the character of Spider-Man's supervillain Dr. Octopus for a group of teenage girls in July of 2007. As the girls ascended on the ride, they became horrified upon noticing a number of support cables breaking loose and beginning to whip about freely. Their pleading screams for the ride to be shut off fell on deaf ears, and the cables viciously snapped back and forth as the riders were dropped in a free fall. Many passengers were injured from the cables, and one girl was forced to have both feet amputated. Flight Commander, Kings Island. There's an old adage that no publicity is bad publicity, but you still have to wonder whether an amusement park really wants to host the sci-fi program Ghost Hunters amidst rumors of hauntings. The haunted reputation of Kings Island stems from a tragic, deadly 2-incident day at the park in June 9, 1991. First, William Haithcote and park employee Daryl Robertson were both fatally electrocuted while trying to save another guest who had fallen into a pond. About an hour later, 32-year-old Candy Taylor was killed when she fell from the park's flight commander. Despite a truly dark day, the park remains open. Haunted reputation and all. Batman the Ride, Six Flags over Georgia. The park bears the brunt of the responsibility in making their rides safe and secure, but guests also have to know not to put themselves in the line of fire. That lesson hadn't been passed down onto a young parkgoer on June 28, 2008 at the Batman Ride in Six Flags over Georgia. Having earlier lost his hat on the ride, he opted to jump 2 fences to retrieve it, soon getting decapitated thanks to his dangerous proximity to the ride. Fujin Raijin 2, Expoland. For 37 years, Osaka, Japan's Expoland was a popular, thriving amusement park with more than 40 rides and attractions. Then came tragedy on May 5, 2007. The country's worst amusement park disaster occurred when the Fujin Raijin 2 roller coaster derailed, killing one 19-year-old university student and injuring 19 others. When an investigation into the accident revealed a broken axle, it was revealed that the axles hadn't been replaced in 15 years. The park reopened a month later but was closed permanently shortly thereafter on account of poor attendance. Hydro, Oakwood Theme Park. The Hydro water roller coaster at the Oakwood Theme Park in Wales was known for its signature drop, but in April 2004, 16-year-old Hayley Williams faced a tragic plunge of an entirely different nature. While riding Hydro, Williams fell out of her car and dropped 100 feet, sustaining internal injuries that ultimately led to her death. The park was fined almost $400,000 for negligence after it was discovered that employees had habitually failed to check the bars and seatbelts that held riders in place. The Big Dipper, Battersea Fun Fair. England's Battersea Fun Fair has the infamous, notorious distinction of being home to the worst roller coaster tragedy in history. In 1972, the ever-popular wooden coaster known as the Big Dipper served as the park's signature attraction in spite of its ricketiness and high level of required maintenance that demanded constant and meticulous attention. In May of that year, a rope that brought the cars to the top of the hill snapped and the anti-rollback feature failed, leaving a chain of speeding cars to smash into a wall at full speed. The accident killed 5 children and injured 13 more, with the park closing 2 years later on account of the negligence associated with the disaster. We hope you enjoyed this kind of tragic video. Here are some other videos that you might like. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Thanks.